Well, welcome everybody. Good morning. I'm Bob Durkin. I'm president of the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome everybody here on behalf of our board of directors and our government affairs and advocacy committee. We welcome you to this forum of Lackawanna County Commissioner candidates. It's the second of our series that we started last week. Today with the Republican candidates. I want to mention that and note that the Chamber is dedicated to attracting, sustaining, and growing jobs and business in Lackawanna County. Through that perspective, we deal with local, state, regional elected officials at all levels. And the relationship that we have, particularly with Lackawanna County, is important. That's one of the reasons we feel it was important to have the candidate forums here for you. This forum is one of the two opportunities for our members to hear from Lackawanna County Commissioner candidates. They address topics that are of interest to our members, specifically the business community. So today we have Republican candidates, Commissioner Chris Chermak and his running mate, Mayfield Councilwoman Diana Campbell. We have an opportunity here to they'll have an opportunity to address the audience with a brief opening statement, followed by moderated questions, the questioning handled by Vince Galco, chair of our Government Affairs and Advocacy Committee. The questions are based on topics that we've identified from our membership, both in discussion with our Government Affairs Committee, our board, as well as a Government Affairs survey that we've recently submitted to our board and our members. The business community here wants to hear about certain particular topics. We have limited the topics to those that are business related. The individuals here, as well as the Democratic candidates that we heard from last week, did receive in advance a list of topics, not the questions, but the topics on which we wanted them to offer their views. So before we begin, I'd like to thank ECTV for partnering with us on this forum. It's being filmed and will be aired on ECTV. We've embargoed last week's event until after today so that it would be fair that the candidates didn't hear the questions in advance. And we will be sending out to all of our members a time schedule for when that's going to be available on ECTV. We're also likewise, we're recording this, and this is going to be posted on our chamber website. To ensure the best production quality, we ask you to silence your phones and minimize any background noise. On your tables are index cards, so we ask if the audience has any interest, any specific questions, please write the question on the card along with your name and contact information. Staff will collect the questions. Vince will read the questions aloud, time permitting. Any unread questions will be provided to the candidates for direct follow-up after the event. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates. Commissioner Chris Chermak was born and raised in Clark Summit. He now resides in Dalton with his wife, Casey. They're the proud parents of two daughters, Christina and Emily, and two sons, Colin and Michael, and the proud grandparent of grandson Aiden. Chris is a graduate of Abington Heights High School. He grew up working in the family automotive business, Joseph Chermak Incorporated in Clark Summit. He started out in the shop many years ago and eventually took over as general manager of the multi-franchise dealership. At a very young age, Chris learned the early value of hard work, honesty, and ethical business practice. Chris is very active in the community. He's a longtime member of the Clark Summit Fire Company. He's a first responder and a member of the National Ski Patrol at Elk Mountain. Chris also serves as a basic life support and CPR instructor for Commonwealth Health Emergency Services and the American Heart Association. He's an EMS volunteer for Steamtown Marathon and a past member of the Clark Summit Planning Commission. Diana Campbell has been a resident of Mayfield, Pennsylvania for over 24 years. She and her husband, Matthew, have 4 children. Diana has owned and operated her own business, teaching piano lessons for over 20 years, and has spent 14 years at Allied Skilled Nursing as a recreation therapy aide. Diana first got involved in local politics in 2015 as a council member of Mayfield Borough, and she served as president of Mayfield Borough Council since 2022. She's shown her commitment to the people of Mayfield by completing 70 hours of education through the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs and becoming a certified borough official. Aside from politics, Diana has faithfully served her community throughout the years as a resident of Mayfield. She's participated in Mayfield's Crime Watch and Shade Tree commissions, acted as a student mentor, and led the Lakeland High School Marching Band Parents Organization, and she's a member of the German Historical Society. So we're about to begin the program. We'll start out by asking or allowing the candidates to offer brief opening statements, followed by the moderated questions by Vince Galco, audience questions afterwards, and then there'll be a closing opportunity for closing statements for the candidates. So we'll begin.
Okay.
So getting involved in my community was one of the best choices I ever made. Once the kids got a little older, I was able to commit to working the polls on election day. And as I was at the polls doing that long day, the mayor happened to be in the room, and he was talking about the floodplain and Hill Street. And I said, wait a minute, I live on Hill Street. What's going on here I need to get more involved around here. What's going on? So it wasn't 6 weeks later, I got appointed to Borough Council in 2015, and that was great. Good way to get involved in the community. As was stated in January of 22, I was elected council president by my fellow council members. So when I got on council, obviously I was concerned about the floodplain, and I was concerned about my house getting put in the flood zone, but I very quickly realized there's so many more issues involved in local government than just my little house on Hill Street. So over the years, I've been able to work on contracts for employment, for garbage pickup, learn about stormwater and what that has to do with the community. Flooding, of course, is an issue for our communities, which streets to pave, updating our zoning ordinance, LERTAs. There were so many issues I was able to learn about. So like I said, LERTAs, we've had some development come through on the Casey Highway, and we learned about that. Thank goodness the county was able to step in and help explain what that even was, because Mayfield has never experienced development like that. And so we learned about that. The mayor had to learn right along with me, so that was really good. Also in the borough, we're always pursuing grants. And that process of pursuing grants, as many are aware, really is a lot of coordination with your local representatives, state, federal, government agencies. So that's been a great learning process as well. We've cooperated with the school district to be able to do a grant for them in Mayfield Borough, because we have an elementary school in our community. So with all of those kinds of things, I really enjoyed the process of learning about government, and I've gained so much experience, and I'm really excited to bring that up to the county. And the couple of things that I really am excited to do at the county level, the first and foremost thing is budgeting. It's a huge responsibility to manage taxpayer dollars. And together, Chris and I, when we're elected, we're going to do a great job working together on that. Chris has already made great progress with his budgeting committee over these last few years, and we'll continue that process. And then another thing I'd really like to see happen is a lot of support for the local municipalities. As I've said, I've appreciated so much the support the county has provided for Mayfield Borough and myself, and I would love to see that and hope to continue that and encourage that at the county level. I feel challenged and excited to be a part of local government. I'm a good listener, hearing the people's concerns, especially when they do actually come to a meeting, but even just walking down the street, they'll stop me and tell me, oh, what's going on here? What's happening there? This property is blighted or whatever. So hearing their concerns, listening to them, and then working together with my fellow council members to come up with reasonable solutions has been really, really good and exciting and challenging, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of that at the county level. All of this stuff starts in your community. Being a part of the local community, as I said, is the best choice I've ever made. And every one of us has a part to play in our community. And public service isn't just about being an elected official. Some of us choose to go that route, and that's great, but each of us has a responsibility in our community. And it's up to us to make our community and our county a better place to live and work.
Okay. That's going to be tough for me to follow. So good morning, everybody. It's great to see a nice crowd here early this morning. So yes, I grew up in our family business, which has its challenges, as anybody in business knows. And I've been involved in our community since I was very young. Like Bob said in my brief bio there about Clarksville Fire Department, I'm in Dalton Fire Company, South Abington, or Chinchilla Fire Company. So, everybody should get involved. It's a great thing. One slight change, Commonwealth Health has now dissolved the emergency services. So now I'm with the Wright Center, who picked it up, and so I'm teaching through there, just in case they're watching out there. But I'm going to start where, when I decided to run for commissioner, or why I decided to run for commissioner. I really haven't figured out why I did it, but I did. But no, there is somebody I could blame, but I won't get into that today. But I was witnessing dysfunction. It was a little embarrassing what was going on. I started my campaign a little over 3 years before, call it my campaign, before even the primary of the election. I started going to municipal meetings to see what issues were going on throughout the county. One of my first stops was at the chamber because I was very interested in, being in business. I wanted to know how the county interacted with the Chamber of Commerce. And I found out from Bob that there really was no communication with the chamber and the county, which I really found very disheartening. So that was number one. When I got in, one of the first things that on the top of my list was to get a relationship going with the chamber, which we did. With the help of the other commissioners, I mean, we dove right into that, and thank God we did, because a month or two later we got hit with a worldwide pandemic, which we were able to work together, and we all plowed through this. It was a unbelievably difficult. There was no rule books, no guide, no information. We had nothing to go with. So we all put our heads together, and we did a great job, I think. First thing I did when I'm trying to think, like, what are the things that this 4 years have gone by so fast. But the first thing that I was doing was taking a deep dive into our budget. I knew there was money that could be saved, and I knew there was things that we could do. Put a bipartisan budget study committee together, and we tried to tackle the budget situation and kind of hit some stone walls. It was very, very difficult, and then the pandemic hit, and it kind of got shut down. I did not let that go. As of last year, we were fighting with our new CFO, which I work very well with. We were able to take a $8 million deficit in this year's budget. With the help of my team, we identified over $5 million in savings that had no effect on the operation of the county. And we were able to balance our budget for this year and actually had a $100,000 surplus. So I was very happy with that. And I'm telling you, I don't take my eyes off of that. Another thing that we did, somebody approached me, and they were very concerned that the county had nothing in place for suicide prevention. No task force. They had no assistance with the county. They want to know if we could do it. A month later, we had our first meeting. We created the Lackawanna County Suicide Prevention Alliance, which I'm very proud of. I had a very, very close friend that died by suicide. We have close to, I'm guessing, probably 170 members now. We meet every other month, try to get everybody on the same page. So that was very important to me. But with the pandemic, I mean, I remember we had to do testing. Everybody, where are we going to get a test? Well, I was with our EMA people. I was up at the old Kmart with my people, putting up inflatable hospital tents and getting the site ready. And we had our first mass testing site. Then when it came down to vaccines, where can we get? Well, we put this together with our help of our chief of staff and everybody on board. We got our first mass testing site at the stadium, or down at the pavilion at Montage. And I mean, even those days, I was there. I was driving a golf cart, hauling people from the parking lot to the testing site and back. So it was all hands on deck. So that was very important. I mean, I'm a kind of person where, I go to work at 7:30 every morning. So being here is nothing for me this time of day. But, I'm in there early. I get my work done early. I talk to everybody in all the departments. I travel around. I communicate with our maintenance people and our sheriffs, and some days I'll even sit at the front door and watch everybody come in and, greet everybody as they come in through the door. So, I have a great relationship with pretty much everybody at the county, and we have great people that work there. Um, some of these departments have 2 or 3 people in them. Um, you know, they work hard, and they have important jobs, and they deal with issues all day long. So, you know, I'm proud of what they do. Um, but back to, some things that we've done. During the pandemic and as we were starting to come out, we had issues with, up in the industrial parks where we needed to get people there for work. So we worked together and got with Colts and got routes in place to get folks up to the different sections, and so that was more convenient for them to get to work. Um, the businesses were suffering, so we with the county and with the help of the chamber, we put grants in place, and to help the businesses get back on their feet, um, which was, I mean, it was devastating. When the governor shut this state down and told people that you couldn't go to work, um, that was difficult. I mean, even for my own family business, I mean, it's small, and my father wasn't even allowed to show a car on the car lot, which to me was, I don't know. I just that was tough. But I fought for these businesses. I put a thing together where everybody got their operating plans together and how they could operate under CDC guidelines and operate safely and efficiently. And we put all this stuff together, and I sent it to the governor's office just to see if what we could do. Unfortunately, I never heard back from the governor's office, but we all got through it. A lot of people suffered, a lot of businesses closed, but we have to get back on track. So, moving forward, we're continuing to help businesses survive. Recently, we had the flood damage that just happened, which was unbelievably devastating. I couldn't even get out of my development that night, so I wasn't able to get up to our EMA, our 911 building until Sunday morning. But we hit the ground. I was out assessing damage with our EMA people, and spent pretty much 2-3 days straight just looking at damage. So it's a big job. I take my job very seriously. It's almost like I'm at my own business. And before I ran for this position. Now this is my job. So it seems funny that I'm running again so I can get my job back, but this is very important to me. We have so much to do. We had so many setbacks, but we've done some great things to help folks get back on their feet and get back on track. But we even got our new pool open in McDade Park, which was, it was a long time coming. That we have such nice parks, and so many people use them, and the pool was critical this year. I wish we could have got it open a little sooner, but we did best we can. It was a huge project. New buildings, new landscape, they had to level everything and start from scratch. But we got it up and running. Had a couple of glitches, but once we got going, but we have a nice brand new splash pad, a nice great pool area. It's beautiful there. So, looking forward to next year and moving forward. But that's what I do. To me now it's my job, and I'm happy to do it. So that's about it for today, or for now anyway.
Great. Well, Diana, Chris, thanks again for being here this morning. And just to let you know, to put you at ease, I made sure I wore my tie with elephants on it today. The prepared questions we have are broken down by topic area. So the first topic is workforce development. And the question is, workforce issues have emerged as perhaps the biggest challenge to the economy, not just in Lackawanna County, but across the region, state, and country. In what ways can we use the County Workforce Development Board and other partnerships to create a robust talent pipeline that meets the evolving needs of our business community?
Do I will pull something out somewhere. Well, that's something we talk about quite often. I mean, coming from my own family business, I know how difficult it is to get good people and to get people that want to come to work. It's, we have the same people that have been there for years. We're lucky. And the sad part is if they disappear, I can't or, my family can't replace these folks. So, some of the things that we talk about and just working with the chamber as well. I mean, we have the, we were just there the other night for the entrepreneurs that start new businesses. So, we try to promote that. Working with the local schools, we have so many colleges here and high school programs where, you can give students ideas on, different things that are out there. How does anybody know what they want to do for a living when they don't even, they haven't been out there in the world? It was different for me. I grew up, I didn't have a choice. I went to work every day, so I knew what I was doing. But working with the colleges to promote local businesses, have internships and things like that to help generate, interest in certain areas of that. Those are some of the things that I think about.
Yeah, I think, so my children are 25, 23, 21, and 17. So I'm right in there with kids needing jobs, right? Kids that are young adults that are looking. And so the other day, the conversation in our house, we have one unemployed child and one, adult, and one in college, and they're having a conversation. And my son said to my daughter, well, you're going to have to move out of the area to find a job around here. You're not going to find any work around here. You're going to have to move. Unless you want to be in healthcare or manufacturing, you're going to have to move. Now, whether I agreed with that statement or not, it was very interesting to me. These were my children talking. I said, wow, so we need to do something to work with these young adults to let them know, what does this area have to offer? Because I think we have more than healthcare and manufacturing. So again, partnering with the colleges and really helping these students and these young adults to learn what is available in our area and making sure we have life-sustaining jobs. Is that the word I want? Yeah. For these kids and helping them to know what is available. And I have a kid in the Level Up program at Lackawanna College. It's amazing. So he's in 17, he's in high school, but he's getting to explore that. And I love seeing that. And I think the Workforce Development Board can get into the high schools more too and somehow get to the parents, because the kids can know all the stuff and they can hear it all. But I'm the parent sitting at home and they don't tell me, my son does not talk to me. He doesn't tell me what all was done at school that day, So finding a way to work together to make sure parents are informed as well and can guide that conversation inside their homes. I think that's a good.
And I know Diane and I talk about it all the time. And, with the art programs that are going around, the mural projects, the development that's going on in the city with Charlie Jefferson and what John Basilega are doing with nice, these beautiful apartment buildings that they're opening up. So there's places for people to come. They can live in the city. I mean, it's such a great area. And right now it's a safe place. There's a lot of great jobs, a lot of opportunity. I watched the news this morning where people were shot, or 3 police officers were shot in Philadelphia this morning or last night. It's just unbelievable what's going on. So we have to promote our area. Hopefully we can keep the streets safe and as we grow. But there's a lot of potential here. I have one son that's a civil engineer, works for PennDOT, designing our bridges, which are in desperate need. And I have another son that's a optometrist, but unfortunately he's in Florida right now, which I could use him today because I'm having a hard time seeing my own notes. But again, there you go. But it is for workforce. It's been a tough go on people. I don't know how people are doing it. I don't know. I can't figure that. I don't know what people are doing. Everybody needs help. I see signs everywhere, help wanted, and good jobs too. So got to work on that. And I think Diane and I can help promote at least Lackawanna County anyhow.
Just another thing I'd like to add is I've seen lately the great program that I believe Johnson College has teamed up with the airport which the airport is a bi-county venture. So that's a way the county is helping promote that. And I think working together, we can see more programs like that come about through the Workforce Development Board. Again, partnering with these local schools, the trade schools. How cool is that? I got to see the first semester of the very first class at the airport and meet the professor. And the kids are there, the students are there learning basic electrical skills that they're going to then apply to aircraft. That's pretty awesome.
Great. Keeping with the workforce theme, probably the biggest or one of the biggest things we hear all the time at the chamber with employees and employers is access to childcare. It's a huge issue. Your thoughts on ways the county can help with that, programs that are in existence, or ideas you might have for the future?
That's a tough one, because that's not just here. That's everywhere. You know, at the county level, that's one thing that we can do is grant money towards, you know, child care providers. But that's an issue whether you work at the county or work in one of the local businesses here. You know, we were fortunate. My wife was able to stay home with our kids when they were young. But and now we're seeing that child care is almost like a college tuition, it seems. So it's going to take money. That's really what's going to help there to help us establish daycare centers and things that are convenient and affordable for the local parents here. You know, we're looking. I see on, you know, different people use them private. You know, they'll have a neighbor watch their kids or a family member watch the kids. So it's a very serious problem throughout the country, really. But you know, hopefully the county can step up and the state with grant money and help fund, you know, assistance anyway.
And I wonder what we can do with local colleges and early childhood education. Is there something we can do? I know Keystone, I believe they have a daycare center on their campus, and they utilize college students to take care of, I don't know if it's the professor's children or what, but I wonder if more things like that could come about across the area.
That's a good program. Actually, my kids went there. My wife
Right.
teaches at Keystone College, and it's a great program. It's open to the public,
Right.
and it's, you know, maybe there needs to be more things like that. So there's a lot of things that can be done, but it takes a lot of money to do it.
The grant money is definitely in order.
Thank you. Our community is becoming increasingly diverse, presenting both opportunities and challenges for business in terms of workforce development. What are your thoughts and ideas on how to assimilate such constituencies, including immigrants, refugees, into our workforce?
I know I came to one of the Workforce Development Board meetings, and I learned that one of the local institutions is providing some English as a second language training to workers at a particular manufacturer. I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to name the manufacturing company, but helping them with workplace safety, the people that couldn't read the workplace safety signs. And I thought that is a really neat way to help people that don't speak English to be able, and they're the ones that want to work, and if they're our workforce, and we need to accommodate them as best as we can. So I think that is, you know, making partnerships and continuing the good things that are already being done with the local universities and colleges to provide assistance like that. I think that's really a great idea.
It goes back to our own ancestors. You know, I have my Italian ancestors. Shermack was Austrian, so like those folks came here in search of the American dream and worked in coal mines and were stonemasons, but they couldn't communicate either. So that was very difficult. They didn't speak the language. But, you know, with the help of the different churches and things back then and the little organizations, they would all work together and learn how to communicate and speak English and learn that way. And, you know, that's another sad thing is we're losing all our churches, the different group. Now, some of these new groups like the Bhutanese, and I mean, they're a tight-knit group and they have their folks that help them, you know, with day-to-day things and how to speak the language and how to work in some of our places. So it really hasn't changed, just different time. But I think At the county level, we can help with that, and we do. We do support some of these programs that go on.
Terrific. All right, we're going to change gears to Diana's favorite topic, budget and fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility and efficient use of budgetary resources are paramount for any public office. How do you plan to manage the budget for Lackawanna County to ensure that it is allocated effectively, transparently, and in a manner that maximizes the benefits for business and the community at large?
It's my favorite. I guess I have to just start, right?
You can get to go, sure.
And let's clarify, it's most important. I don't know that it's necessarily my favorite, but it's absolutely, like I believe you used the word paramount. It's absolutely essential. I like to think that it's a simple math equation. At least it is in my home, and why can't it be with any budget? What you take in and what goes out needs to equal zero. You got to have everything accounted for. Now, it might not be that simple when it really comes down to it, but when we get elected, Chris and I will definitely be taking a look at that very, very soon after we take office. And we work on our budget in Mayfield all year long. Every single month, we check it, we look at it, we see where we're at. And I expect to do something very similar at the county level, just to keep everyone in check. We have to control spending. We have to keep it balanced. What goes in, what comes in, and what goes out cannot be out of whack. It has to be balanced. So
Well, I opened up this morning with budget. We have a good group of folks that understand the budget way better than I do. But coming from my own family business, I mean, we operated, we sold cars, fixed cars. I mean, we had income coming in. The county doesn't, the only income that comes in is tax money. So, so it's the taxpayers, it's everybody here, it's their money that we're spending. So believe me, I've been laser focused on that for a long time. This year, we're looking at costs skyrocketing, pay increases, just because, the people, the employees of Lackawanna County aren't overpaid. There might be a couple, but for the most part, nobody's overpaid at the county. So in order to keep folks, we've had to negotiate with unions, which is difficult at some times, but to increase some pay so that we can keep people there. Because everybody, when you can, everybody says go to McDonald's and make $20 an hour flipping hamburgers. Well, I don't want to work at McDonald's, but if you lose people to better jobs, then we're losing good people at the county. So this year we have some things going on that I'm really not excited about, but they're looking at doing a $43 million bond issue. They want to borrow $43 million to put towards capital repairs and emergency this. And well, $43 million is pretty darn close to a third of our operating budget. To me, that's insane. There's no way we could borrow that kind of money when we don't even have a balanced budget yet. So I've been really focused on that. I'm gonna continue to stay focused on that. We can't cut services. The job at the county is health and human services. That's what we do. Take care of the residents, try to, keep everything going at every level. But for me, I just can't say it enough. I've been watching this budget since long before I became a commissioner. But it's going to be very difficult with the way things are going. Gas prices, food prices, everything is skyrocketed. So to be able to balance this budget is going to be very difficult. We're going to really have to tighten our belt. And, sometimes there's going to be some very difficult decisions that are going to have to be made. But I can guarantee you, Diane and I are going to be laser focused on budget, spending, and, and with the reassessment too. I just thought of that. Reassessment coming. Well, everybody in this room, including myself, knows we need to do some sort of reassessment. It's been over 50 years and things are out of whack. But when they wanted to do that, I voted no, because we were right smack in the middle of a pandemic. People were out of work, they're struggling, and now we're going to spend money and do a reassessment. And that's when concerns come up about losing your home. What if my taxes go up? How am I going to pay for it? So I thought, it's been 50 years. Let's put the brakes on here. We know we need to do it, but we need to have a plan in place. How are we going to help people that are on fixed income? How are we going to help the elderly? What's our plan moving forward? Is there a plan in place that we can do this every 5 years, 10 years, or is it going to be another 50 years? Well, nobody could give me an answer. So that was the reason I voted no. I said, if you can't tell me why or what we're going to do moving forward or what your plan is, I can't vote for this and jeopardize people losing their homes. You know, I had a woman from, I think it was up in Archbald. She said, I live on $11,000 a year. I've been in my house for, I forget, 60 whatever years. Her husband passed away. She said, my taxes are going to go up. I said, they probably will. So how do you help that person? So we have to have plans in place. So I've been talking to, we have a group that we've been talking to other states and other areas. We talked to a place out in King County, out in the state of Washington, and how they do it and how they protect people on fixed incomes and the elderly. So we don't have to reinvent a wheel here, but we need to be smart about it. We need to watch our pennies, watch what we're doing, and really stay on top of that stuff.
And I just say too, on the borrowing issue, borrowing nearly a third of our operating budget, with no way to pay for that.
It's going to lead to a massive, it's going to be a
yeah.
tax increase. There's no way around it. And I know what's happening. They're setting up the next group of commissioners coming in so that they don't have to deal with it. And I don't think that's right. I think, and I've said that, I think that decision should be made up to the new administration, whoever it is. Don't saddle a new administration with an impossible way to pay back, or it's just not good.
No other way to pay it back. And none of us would run our homes that way. We would never.
You can't borrow yourself out of debt. You can't.
You'd never do that. It would be very unwise.
No.
So.
Did I get off on the
No, it was very
tangent
good,
there?
very
But,
good.
you
Actually, we're ahead of the curve as usual. Next question is, what would you hope to be the impact of the ongoing county reassessment would be? And as a follow-up, if the reassessment presents an equitable distribution of the tax burden, how do we maintain that going forward?
that's the question. So, the reassessment, like I said, it has to be done because things are so far out of whack.
Let me just insert this.
Go ahead.
The reassessment has to be done. The mayor sends us an email every time a property sells in Mayfield. He's very on top of things. So I believe it was, I don't remember what date, but in the last couple of weeks, a property sold for $180,000 and it was assessed at $5,000. The borough collects $170 on that property that just sold for $170 a year. So it absolutely, it's past time for it to be done.
Well, it is.
But the problem is
And-
moving forward with it.
And we are in the process of appraising all the houses and getting things situated there, which I know there's going to be issues. There's issues, as we move forward here. But that, as far as I'm concerned, we're not flipping that light switch until there's plans in place and that folks, like I said, that could potentially lose their homes, there's plans in place to help these people. There's things, the Homestead Act, the Clean and Green. Clean and Green is something that is for, farmland. And I use Keith Eckel as an example. Keith Eckel has multiple farm properties in Lackawanna, Wyoming County, and maybe some other counties. Every piece of farmland that he owns in Wyoming County is in Clean and Green. Clean and Green helps them, they don't assess it. They assess it as a farm, so it doesn't cripple them with their taxes. Lackawanna County, not one piece of property is in Clean and Green. So that's part of the reassessment process. I think we need to identify those properties and get them in this program that help, can't put the farmers out of business. So there's a lot that needs to be done with that reassessment before that light switch is flipped.
I think like what you've already said, making a plan going forward to sustain the the results of the reassessment, I think, is absolutely essential. Are we going to wait another 50 years, or what are
Well,
we
no,
going
and
to do with that? So,
that's critical, but the other part is, the whole thing behind this is to collect more money. So obviously, to collect more money, people's taxes are going up. So we'll see.
Certainly not an easy topic. Thank you for your answers. Next topic area is infrastructure and development. Infrastructure plays a critical role in supporting business, attraction, sustainment, and growth. Given that the county controls substantial road and bridge assets, how do you envision leveraging county and potential federal infrastructure development resources to enhance the overall business environment in Lackawanna County?
Start with that because I've been involved in that for the last 4 years. So bridges, we have approximately 150 bridges. Roads, we have 33 miles of road in Lackawanna County. One of the major roads is obviously Montage Mountain Road. That's a big, long, expensive road to maintain or to replace. And it's getting close to needing to be done. Our Roads and Bridges Department, guided by Larry Lukasik, he's been there for years, which he's due to retire, which I think I'm going to be standing in the doorway to keep him there, but does a great job of identifying critical repairs on bridges or replacements that need to be done. And we try to do as many as we can. We get a huge help from the state with funding, and with PennDOT, we work side by side with PennDOT and getting these bridges repaired and replaced. So that's something that's been ongoing, and we will continue to do that. But you can't go bankrupt trying to fix every road and every bridge that we own in this county. So it has to be done, it has to be done intelligently. And like I said, we have programs in place, and we do these. We have temporary bridges that if need be, we can take a bridge. We have it up in, I think it's still up in Covington Township, where we have to fix this bridge. And the reason for the bridge in this one little area is so that one family can get to their house. That's it. That's it. It's one family that has a house back there. And it's probably $1 million plus bridge. Right now, the temporary was there. The new bridge was being replaced, rebuilt. And then we had the flood. Now it just wiped out a bunch of bridges that we just fixed in the last few years. Dalton was one of them. It's right not far from my house. Newton on Bridge Lane, same thing. Fortunately, the abutments and the wing walls and stuff are good. We just need to fix the approaches and fix the pavement and stuff like that. So it's not going to be too bad, but still, it eats into our funds, that were designated for other projects.
I think too, I think some of this is already going on. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but just, you mentioned about the federal, figuring out how to manage federal, cooperating with, I'm sure there's federal funding available at times. And I think our departments are going after some grant money for some of
They are.
these projects. And that's an important aspect, I think, of county government, just like it is local. Local government looks to the county and to the state. So as a county government, we need to look
Well,
and
we
see
do.
what's available and make sure we are educated about that. And
One thing
see
too,
what-
and Diane is exactly the same way as I am. She works at she's the president of Mayfield Borough Council. The mayor, and this is where it gets political, is a Democrat. He's the one that put Diana on. I don't play politics. It's political during an election season, but other than that, I have very, very close, and everybody that knows me here knows this. I have very close relationships with Matt Cartwright, with Bob Casey, with Marty Flynn, Bridget Kozarowski. I grew up with Bridget. So we don't play that game. We do what needs to be done. As a matter of fact, the other day when Bob Casey came in to assess the damage, it was Bob and myself. That was it. Nobody else. The two of us were there talking to the residents and assessing the damage. So that's one thing that I can say is I've never had a problem working with Democrats, Republicans. It's all about getting the job done, and that's critical.
You're
And
absolutely right with that. We definitely in the borough work closely with Congressman Cartwright and our representative Kyle Mullins now, and we did work with Bridget Kozarowski and Senator Flynn and Senator Rosemary Brown. And again, just being aware of what is out there and what's available to help us as a county and as at the local level as well.
we're at a critical stage here. You watch the news every day. The Republicans hate the Democrats hate the Republicans. Nothing's happening. It cannot be like that. I've never played that game. We all work together. That's the way it needs to be. That's the way it should be. But that's what I'm confident that even Diane and myself, as commissioners, I'm not worried about. We'll get money. You know, we have great relationship with these folks, and they're from this area. They're going to help this area, and they're going to help the county, and that's who we have to work with.
One other note on the broadband, or on the infrastructure. Just, I know that there is a program out there at the state level looking to expand the broadband to all the areas. And being from Mayfield and having plenty of internet and no problems, I was a little bit blinded to the people that are in our county that don't have internet. Their only source of internet is Starlink. I was a little bit blown away by that and realized, wow, okay, there's more to Lackawanna County than just Mayfield. And so I think that's an important
That
program.
probably is one of your questions, maybe, but
Well, it's part of infrastructure.
but the county's
yeah.
already on. You know,
Yeah.
we've already started the broadband project. I mean, we're out in the rural areas,
Right.
and we're trying to get that's up and running. So we're moving forward on that.
Come in that direction as well.
Well, another exciting project in the area is the proposed Scranton to New York City Amtrak connection. Both the current county administration and the Scranton Chamber are on record as strongly supporting that project. Would you as commissioners continue to support the endeavor?
I would support it as long as I can see that it's beneficial to the area, as long as it's promoting economic growth and not bringing in crime to our area. That would be very upsetting if it was a conduit of not good things for our area. But if people can live here and pay their taxes here and work in New York City, I'm all for it.
Well, that's we've been working together with, especially Matt Cartwright's been a big supporter of that, and I think we're in difficult times right now. We see what's going on in New York City. I personally don't want to go to New York City right now, but hopefully that's going to change soon. I hope. I think the train would be beneficial, especially in the Poconos and in that region, because there's so many people that travel back and forth. So there's going to be a benefit to us, but there is a concern about, the train goes both ways. So, there is that concern, and hopefully we can handle that, and hopefully things start to turn around a little bit.
Next topic is municipal collaboration. Scranton is the largest city in northeastern Pennsylvania and the county seat of Lackawanna County. If the city of Scranton is doing well, it likely indicates that Lackawanna County is also doing well. How important do you believe strong collaboration between Lackawanna County and the city of Scranton is to the future of our community?
I'll speak on that. So obviously, what you just said, if the city's doing well, the county would seem to be doing well as also. And I know from Mayfield Borough standpoint, the county has been such a huge support, and I would expect that if the city approaches the county for any kind of guidance, help, the things that I've benefited from in the borough, I think that as commissioners, we would be absolutely happy to have a conversation with them. And I think it is important to work together as much as we can. And I think as commissioners, we'll be more than willing to sit down and have conversations with the city. As, again, all the municipalities, there's 40 altogether, and city of Scranton makes up about a third of Lackawanna County. So there's a lot of other municipalities as well that can come to the table at any time with the county and receive benefit from that support.
Okay, so did you order lunch? Because so all the municipalities are important. The city of Scranton is critical. I talked about our pool project. We have Naog Park, which when I was a kid it was like Disney World when I was little. So that stuff has to be addressed. Right now, you go to Naog, half of it looks like it's an abandoned property. So that's an issue. pocket parks, things like that, they've been working. I know Grant tomorrow just finishing up the one by St. Luke's Church, which is going to be great. So things like that, the artwork, the murals that I talked about, just to beautify the city, the work that John Basilega and Charlie Jefferson, and I know there's other developers, Art Rousseau and other people that maintain buildings and revamp these places. That's critical. Getting people down in the city with these new high-end apartments. I've been in some of them. Our old county building, I was in it when they were gutting the place, and I looked at Charlie and I thought, where do you start with something like this? But next thing you know, the apartments are beautiful and they're full. You have businesses down below. Now he's working on Tinks, or John Basilega is going to be some upscale apartments, and then a high-end restaurant in the bottom. So that's all growth for the city, and that's what's going to bring people here. And it's definitely very, very important. And that's where we are. We're downtown. Our courthouse square is beautiful. I'd love to go over there. We have a lot of events there, La Festa and everything else that goes on. But that brings so many people to our area, and that's downtown Scranton. So we're getting there, but there's a ton of work to be done. And there's things that have to be done. We look at the mercantile tax, now they have the payroll tax. Well, one of my oldest and closest friends owns, I won't mention the name, but he owns a tuxedo business. Well, his payroll taxes are astronomical. Like, he is to the point where he's going to take that business and pull it out of the city. Well, we can't have that. There's been numerous businesses that pulled out of the city because of the mercantile, because of the payroll tax. There's construction businesses that have to pay a tax because they're in the city, where the other other businesses are bidding on the same project that don't have to figure that in. So that's not fair. So, the city needs to really take a hard look on how they're treating the businesses and try to attract more business in the city itself. We're expanding out of the area. We're getting up on the Casey Highway. Luzerne County is sprawling with millions of square footage of building space. And so, we have to really be on top of things here.
History has shown that the best and biggest economic development projects occur in this county when the county and chamber work together. Also, in response to the pandemic, the county and chamber worked seamlessly together in that response. So can we have your thoughts and perhaps your assurances that a Campbell-Sherback administration would continue to work closely with the chamber?
Well, I told you before, my first visit was with Bob Durkin, and never looked back. And fortunately, the other commissioners thought the same way. So with our economic development department, with the chamber, and we can't do it without the chamber. They're the experts. I am not an expert on all the things that the chamber does. So to me, we're there. We're lockstep with the chamber. That's the way it's going to be. And we have a long way to go. We have a lot of good things happening.
I'd say coming into this campaigning and looking at becoming a commissioner, learning about the evolving relationship between the chamber and the county has been pretty exciting. I got to hear the story, and I think it's really, really neat. And my own personal experience in Mayfield Borough had the chamber actually approached Mayfield, or I can't remember if I called them or they called me, whatever. We hooked up about this development coming through in Mayfield, and they were there to support whatever we can do to help. Diana, what do you need? They were so supportive, and like I said, development in Mayfield, like big development, is brand new to us, so even to the mayor who's been around for 40 years. So having the chamber's support has been wonderful, just to know that they're there. And I got to go around with Aaron Whitney to all the different chamber properties, and how exciting that was to see all of the things and hear all of the history of what's gone on in our county and all these industrial parks and the roads that have been built by the chamber, and obviously are a vital part to the economic development of this county, and that relationship absolutely has to continue. Yeah.
Critical.
Great.
Vince, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
No, it's just,
We greatly appreciate
we're getting a commercial from the chamber. We might as well stop. while we're at it.
Exactly. And we only have a few minutes left, so we're going to just hit a few more questions. Do you support joint initiatives that cross multiple communities and encourage regional collaboration across Lackawanna County's municipalities?
So I'll start with that one. So absolutely, I think collaborating when it makes sense. I have two different examples. We recently did a police study. We were looking at regionalizing our police from Dixon City all the way up to, I think it went up to Carbondale City. And we went through the whole study. We said, well, if this is, our public safety, everyone knows police officers are getting short and hard to find them. And we did the study, we went through it, and it turned out that it was not a good situation for Mayfield, and we voted against it. We said it's going to cost our residents more for less coverage. So in that way, regionalizing and collaborating with other municipalities was really not helpful. But Mary Liz Donato from the county approached the borough, and Michelle Bannon from Carbondale City said, we would like to look at a regional plan for zoning similar to the SAPA plan, which is the Scranton Abington's plan that has been in the works for many years. So we looked into that, and I asked a million questions like, how is this going to benefit us? Is there any downside to it? And as far as we can see, this is going to be great for our area. There's 5 municipalities working together under Mary Liz Donato's direction, and with grants from the state and whatnot, and this is going to be a really great thing. So I think we always have to be cognizant of what is going to be great for our residents. Is it going to be beneficial? What's it going to do for us? If it's going to be helpful, let's go for it. If not, we put the brakes on it.
Yeah, I agree. Diana, the regionalization for what costs are skyrocketing and what it costs to just do business or be a fire department or a police department or a school district, or I think that's definitely some solution. I've always been an advocate for regionalization, especially what I just said about fire departments and police departments. Now, maybe it didn't work for Mayfield, but it does work for other regions and other areas.
And maybe it could work on a smaller scale or
Well,
in a different
and
way.
it
So
can.
something to
like
consider,
I
yeah.
look at, I always refer to the EMS world because that's kind of where I came from. But how many Clark Summit, Dalton, Chinchilla, Factoryville, how many ladder trucks do we need? They're $1 million, close to it. How many rescue trucks? They're $800,000, $700,000. They all have them, and they're all struggling, and they can't even get a crew. When I was a kid, they'd be lined up to get on the rig to go. Now, you'd be lucky if you can get enough people to go. So regionalization for that would help with funding through the state and through the federal government, also with manpower. Same thing in police departments. The problem with police departments is everybody wants to be in charge, so that's where the problem comes in. School districts. School districts are, well, that's where most of our tax money goes. It costs a fortune to operate these school districts anymore. So maybe, we need to look at regionalization with school districts. It'll help with costs. It'll help with taxes for everyone. My brother lives in Maryland, Anne Arundel County School District. It's a massive school district. So, we need to look at stuff like that. But I'm definitely for that.
Great. We have time for one more question and then closing remarks. And if you want time to do them together, that's fine as well. This question comes from our audience. In a Campbell-Chermak administration, what would be your top priorities for the first 90 days?
Absolutely, the budget, my favorite. We got to dig into that budget. We got to get right on it and get started. And it's going to be a big job. So that would definitely be. I think we agree on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, budget. There's so many things. You get into the prison. We're part of the airport. All the different departments in the county. I said before, we have. These people have become like my family now. I go see them, and we're not talking about work. So we have some great people there. The last thing that I would ever do is go in and start cleaning house because we have people there with knowledge that they've been there for years and years and years. So the budget is key. I don't like my taxes when they go up. I'm sure everybody in this room doesn't like when their taxes go up. So we're going to be laser focused on the budget and, trying to operate the county efficiently. That's how I started the first day I got in there. And that's how we're going to continue to do it. We go to work every day. That's what we do. So we have a lot to do.
Chris has an advantage of kind of knowing what's going on here and the things. But I know when I got on council, I thought, okay, I'm going after that flood issue. Oh, there's so many more things. So I know, I'm concerned about the budget, but there's, like Chris mentioned, there's so many more aspects to the county that you have to just be ready to go. So,
Well, with that, I'll turn it back to the two of you for a few short thoughts on your closing arguments.
Closing.
well, I just say thank you for having us. It's been great to have a conversation with the community and with business leaders in our area. And I'm really excited to be a part of the leadership of this county. And I'd ask for your vote on November 7th.
And again, thank you for all for coming and for the questions. It's been this 4 years have gone by in a blink of an eye for me. They'll ask me, well, what did you do in the last 4 years? It's like, oh, I don't know. But I started going through my, I have a book with all newspaper cutouts, and I'm flipping through, and I'm like, wow, I've been on the newspaper quite a bit here, especially when there was a missing key and all that kind of stuff. So, but it's been, I can't even explain what it's been to be a commissioner here. I've met so many great people. I will never consider myself a politician. I'm a public servant. I go to work. I do this job. This job is 7 days a week, whether I'm out to dinner with my wife, or I'm sitting at my desk, or I'm at the 911 center, or I'm walking the cell block floors at the prison to see how our guys are doing. I mean, this has become just a part of what I do every day, and I love my job. So Diane and I working together, I'm sure we can do a lot of great things and keep this county moving forward. And I think we are well on our way. So.
Well, with that, we'll be wrapping up the program. First of all, I want to again thank Commissioner Chermak and Councilwoman Campbell both for being here today, but also for putting yourselves forward as candidates. One of the challenges I think we have as a country is that we don't necessarily have the best and brightest coming forward and putting their time and their sweat equity, as it were, into this. And so we really do appreciate you doing that in this campaign. I'd also underscore what Commissioner Chermak has said. This last 3.5, almost 4 years, has been among the most productive relationships that this chamber has ever had with Lackawanna County, and Chris has been at the forefront of that, so I think it needs to be acknowledged. So likewise, I'd like to thank those of you who have come here today for being in the audience and supporting the government affairs efforts of the Chamber of Commerce as we promote the advocacy business issues for Lackawanna County and beyond. We'll also again thank ECTV for being a part of this. As I mentioned before, once this is done, we'll work out the schedule with ECTV and get that out to all of you and all of our members in the community so that they get a chance, those who were not able to be here, we get a chance to hear your views. Likewise, want to just make the note that the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce is here to attract, sustain, and grow business, to attract, sustain, and grow jobs. We do that best when we have a cooperative relationship with Lackawanna County government. So we're looking forward to that moving forward as well. So thank you again for coming here this morning. For more on the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce, please check our website, www.scrantonchamber.com. There's a lot going on, a lot of different issues that we're working on and supportive of the business community. So we invite you to look into the Chamber of Commerce. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you.